All right. I had some scriptures that I did not get a chance to talk about in our last live for 40 money spells, scriptures and spell. And I said that I would have to find time to squeeze it in. I'm squeezing in some time right now. Yes. So I hope you had a lovely weekend. Today is July 28th. It is. Yeah, Wednesday, hump day. Happy hump day. Hope you're humping everywhere. Anyway, um, so I'm going to talk about that. And then since I've talked to you, before I did 40 money scriptures and 40 money spells, I might get up like during the witching hour, like 3 o'clock, do some studying, things of that nature, take a little nap, uh, and then come to the library whenever I got ready. And then I would spend my time book writing or applying for grants. By the way, get past a $10,000 grant coming up, due by the 31st. Took me like 5 minutes to fill it out. Can't wait to submit it. Yeah, if you want to go on over there and apply. And it's fairly easy to set up a business plan and the business questions. I think it's like 10 business questions. Those are easy to answer. Well, they were easy to answer for me, but they do have assistance. So I spent my Monday. Oh, it was my first time this past weekend going to a place called Yummy Bowl. I was treated to Yummy Bowl by the family. That was lovely. I stuffed as many vegetables and meat in my bowl as I possibly. And then after I got done with my poem on Saturday going into Sunday morning, because originally it was 12 pages. I got done with my poem about 3:33 Sunday a.m. Sunday morning and got it down to 5 pages. I ended up taking I put a bio I had bought folders. I put a bio in the folders, and since I wasn't gonna have time to read any scriptures, already having 5 pages, I went ahead and I printed the scriptures. I also went ahead and gave out something called Basic Cosmic Vocabulary Sheet with the questions for identity on them. Those will be in the book. Those are already in the book that I'm writing based off of these sold. And then, let's see. Yeah, baseline vocabulary, birth code, galactic signature, kin, oracle, way spell, planetary influence, fifth force, chrono PSI, daily transit. Sunday was kin 229, red galactic moon, so I made sure to have the core affirmation in there. And then I also made sure to have my bio in there. I'm waiting to hear back in regards to the people. I wasn't there for the whole entire time. Yeah, so, but I did come in when the pianist was playing, who was absolutely magnificent. I did contact the person over the group and asked her name because I came in while she was playing. And then also the dancer, I asked for her information. And then the counselor who came on, I asked for her information. So once I have that information, I will post that information up. Monday, I rested after our long 8 weeks. together, I said, you know what? I think I want to rest today. And that's what I did. I rested. And then Tuesday, I got out and started writing it. Yes, indeed. And then yesterday, I listened to Rev as we entered First Chronicles, verse 1. Oh, wait. So she's at the YouTube conference, which looks absolutely delicious. She's got pictures on her Instagram. And boy, the YouTube people look like they know how to give out some serious gifts when it comes to freebies. And you attending their conferences, yeah, that looks absolutely scrumptious. This morning, I spent my time, by the way, ye sowed. Ye sowed is foundation on the tree of life. Ye sowed is astral light, is what Ephesians Levi calls it, on the tree of life. It is the most important decision you will make as long as you are living and breathing on planet Earth in regards to how you choose your wealth vehicle. And it needs to be talked about before a child is deciding what they want to do based off of what's been taught by society in regards to when they grow up. Isn't it great? Okay, so this morning, I did some studying. I'm glad I don't have much to read. At least I don't think I did. Did I read this one? Don't know if I did. We can go through these. I didn't bring my book with me today. Yeah, we can go in depth over these and then I can return. That'll be fine. This morning I studied. I was going through my IG looking at Rebs and YouTube. She's in New York. And when I swiped up, I don't think I meant to swipe up, but I did. And I don't even remember who was talking about it, but I said, I need to look in to whatever it is she's talking about. I did snap a picture, but I don't remember her name. But I can talk about, before I go over into some of the things on Kings, I had never heard of Besm. I think that's how you say it. DeWitt York, who moved to Georgia and set up his temple, which that temple is no longer there. And Malachi, my fault, y'all, York. It was it was talking about spiritual DNA perception, role of melanin with pineal gland, and extraterrestrial. So I was doing Nuabism, I think is how you say it, I'm not sure. Extraterrestrial and Analiak. Anawaki cosmology. Early this AM, I went to go look and see about these holy tablets. There's a few reviews on these holy tablets. And I believe they go by papyrus. These holy, I was looking for the original because I went to the reviews and it said that some of the pages were missing. Whatever's in this book is highly protected, not even a preview. Now, it appears, because I didn't know anything about this man before, I was looking up the information that I got off Instagram, that Dwight is sentenced like 135 years or something like that in jail. Do you want to know what my question is? Between him, P. Diddy, some of these popes we didn't heard about who like to order pizza. Even reading the holy book right now, it seems like the higher the spiritual claim, the higher the hypocrisy. To be in such a, I couldn't even believe it when I went and looked up what he was in jail for. What? To be in such a position. And the pyramids was absolutely beautiful. Just gorgeous. The landscape was beautiful. The setup was beautiful. To be in that type of position and to let ego and whatever else mentally take over. The holy spiritual claims, the hypocrisy, the holy books, the people, uh, the people reverence the sacred text versus lives that lead. Some of them have the most unholy behavior. Listen, and you're talking to somebody who loves adult entertainment, and there are just certain lines I would just never cross. Between R. Kelly, P. Diddy, whoever this man is, and the people on the Epstein island, there's just certain things you do not do. There's a line. This is the line. Even some of the things in the Bible, there's a line. We're reading it line by line. There's just certain lines you do not cross into or should not even be in there. All right, we're going to go ahead. And today I'm going to, we talked about 2 Kings 13. We talked about 8, 9, 10, 11. I want to say it was 12, 13. 2 Kings 12, 13. 17, 21. Maybe we discussed 21. All right, so I will check past 21. We only had a couple more chapters to cover then because I believe 2 Kings only went to 25. 21. We might have ended at 21, but you know what? We might as well end with the whole book. So 21 through 25. And then for Second Chronicles, you can study that with Reverend Valerie Love, just like I am. ValerieLove.com or her YouTube channel. Okay. Let's go over in detail one of the questions asked. And I was short on time and I didn't get to go through them. We're going to go through them today. Let's paint some pictures here in the next 20 minutes. Why don't we? Oops. I kind of sprinted through them. Yeah, take time with the paintbrush. If you cross-reference 2 Chronicles 26, 16 to 21, the priests added their own explanation for why Azariah got leprosy. They claim Azariah got arrogant, walked straight into the temple of Jerusalem, and tried to burn incense at the altar himself. Wait a minute, wrong section. That's the section when I realized, wow, why Phineas Levi was named what he was. Oh, and Phineas came out of, first name he chose was out of Job's 3 friends, and Levi was chose out of Levites. He's real creative, Phineas Livy. The great musician. Okay. Counting all the monarchs across the United Kingdom of Israel, the Northern Kingdom of Israel, and the Southern Kingdom of Judah, up to 2 kings, 15, a total of 29 kings plus 1 queen have passed. United Kingdom, fall. 4 kings, all 4 monarchs of the United Era, gone. Saul fell on his sword in battle. Woo. Ishbosheth taken out in his sleep. Man, we can't even sleep peacefully around here. What happened to peace that surpasses all understanding? David slept with his fathers because of old age. Solomon slept with his fathers because of old age. At least it was old age. Northern Kingdom of Israel, 14 kings, up through 2 Kings 2:15, up to 2 Kings 15. The Northern Kingdom has seen a brutal streak of takeouts, military, and co-ops. Jeroboam, stricken by God. Stricken by God. Natural. Nadab, taken out by Baasha. Baasha, natural causes. Elah, taken out while drunk by Zimri. Baby, a reminder that you can't get drunk with everybody. I think P. Diddy would be the current reflection we can look at for that type of situation in 2026. Zimri took out himself by setting his palace on fire after a 7-day reign. Only 7 days, baby? Ooh, child. Omri, natural causes. I have to look into Zimri some more, baby. Ahab. A random arrow in battle. Random arrow in battle. One arrow? Let's see if I can find a tarot card with one arrow on it. Ahaziah. My gosh. Collapsed roof. Injury. Turned down for what? All right. Jehoram, taken out with an arrow through the heart by Jehu. I like these arrows. Jehu, natural causes. Jehu Ahaz, natural causes. Josh, natural causes. Jeroboam 2, natural causes. Zechariah, public by Shalom. Public humiliation, ritual. Interesting. We have those today as well. Ooh, that's deep. Public humiliation because misery loves company. Because the colonizer consciousness loves unrest, loves fear. Loves control. Loves slaves. Oh. All right. Shalom. Taken out by Menahem after ruling for just 1 month. These are some short, you know what? Menahem, natural causes. Pekahia, taken out by his citadel by Pekah. Citadel. Southern Kingdom of Judah, 11 kings plus 1 queen. The line of David in the south had its own fair share of sickness, unalivings, and palace plot. Ooh. Rehoboam. You know, I'm beginning to think we've got a lot of bone. Wonder what bone. We got a lot of Riah, Riah, or Zia, Ziah. ASH. Hmm. Ri, and PHAT. HEM and LUM. All right. Rehoboam, natural causes. Abijam and Abijah, natural causes. Asa, severe foot disease. Oh, child. Jehoshaphat, natural causes. Jehoram, agony from incurable bowel disease. There must have been Jehoram. Hmm. Ahaziah, by Jehu's men. So that is 2, including Ahab. Ruth, injury. Queen Athaliah. Usurped the throne. Ooh, taken out by sword at the horse gate. Well, that's not a natural cause. Joseph in bed by his own officials. In bed, own peoples. What they saying, sinners? Sometimes it be your own peoples. Amaziah, Lachish after a conspiracy. Azariah, Uzziah. Isolated in quarantine after being struck with leprosy. Yeah, that story was nuts. Complete nuts. Jotham, natural causes at the end of 2 Kings 15. Well, I guess if you don't consider unaliving someone in the name of God, a slaying, I guess you could interpret that as a natural cause because you did it in the name of God in this Bible. Huh? I don't know. God is unconditional love, why we are having slayings in the name of God. All right. So out of those, over half died by or taking themselves out or combat. So prophets, patriarchs, matriarchs, and leaders who carried the raw spiritual weight, kavod, divine glory. Moses standing on Mount Nebo, looking into the promised land, but forbidden to cross over because he struck the rock in frustration, is the ultimate archetype of this principle. The patriarchs and matriarchs, the nomads of the promised land. Let's get through this real quick. Abraham promised an entire nation and limitless land as numerous as the stars, yet passed away owning only a single burial cave, Machpelah in Hebron to bury Sarah. He lived his entire life in tents as a stranger in the land he was promised. Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel all carried the ancestral matrix and lineage of nations, but passed on the road in temporary encampments long before their descendants ever inherited the realm. Rachel literally passed on the roadside, giving birth to Benjamin before ever reaching home. Jacob Israel spent his life wrestling angels and running from conflict, only to pass away as a displaced refugee in Egypt during a global famine. His body had to be carried back as a mummy just to be buried. The wilderness generation, the threshold. Aaron, the high priest, Moses' brother, and the very first anointed high priest, like Moses, he was barred from the promised land due to the rebellion at Meribah. He was stripped of his priestly vestments on Mount Hor and died passed in the wilderness. Miriam, the prophetess and musician, led by a woman in victory songs at the Red Sea and carried the prophetic water well frequency to the desert, but passed in Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin before the Jordan was ever crossed. The entire Exodus generation, 600,000 men and families, an entire generation that witnessed the sea split and ate the manna, passed in the desert sand, serving as the transition bridge between Egyptian slavery and the sovereign inheritance. Woo, child. The prophets and seers. The seers, the magical word in the Bible. Elijah never saw Israel cleansed of corruption or restored to spiritual purity in his lifetime. He spent his ministry fleeing Jezebel, hiding in caves and crying out in depression before being snatched up in the whirlwind. His destination was elevated out of the physical realm entirely. Elisha or Elisha. As we just read in 2 Kings 13, Elisha passed of an illness with his final prophecy unfulfilled in his lifetime, raging at the king Joash for only striking the ground 3 times instead of 5 or 6. Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, warned Jerusalem for decades to prevent its collapse. Instead of being honored, he was thrown into muddy centurns, beaten, watched Jerusalem burn to the ground, and was forcibly dragged out to Egypt as a captive, where he passed in exile. Woo. Ezekiel. I know what those wheels are now. After today's study in depth, Ezekiel received the most wild high-frequency visions of the Kabbalah, the multi-edged spinning wheel and throne wheel, while sitting at a displaced captive by the Shebar River in Babylon. He passed in exile without ever seeing the reconstructed temple he meticulously measured in his visions. If all these folks is going away, who's writing these books? Extra biblical and crippled figures. Enoch 3, book of Enoch, walked with God in a corrupt world, but his destination was an earthly land. He was translated directly out of the physical reality, transformed into an angelic metatron, leaving the earth behind before its destruction in the flood. John the Baptist, the ultimate threshold figure in the New Testament, operated in the wilderness, declared the coming shift, and was y'all sure do like to play with people's heads. In a prison cell over a pretty royal dance before seeing the full movement unfold. Why does the text repeat this pattern? Why do the greatest wielders of power pass on the threshold? Ooh, we got a couple minutes. I might be able to talk about that. The pioneer versus the builder. The consciousness required to break out of a system. Moses breaking out of Egypt, Abraham leaving Ur, is a fundamentally different from the consciousness required to settle and manage a territory. The pioneer's job is to open the portal. Others walk through it. Kavod is internal alignment, not geography. Moses didn't need to cross the Jordan River to achieve his kavod. His face was already glowing with divine radiance on Mount Sinai. The physical land of milk and honey was for the lower frequency populace who needed material proof. The Magus prophet's destination is mastery of consciousness itself. The mantle outlives the vessel, or the calabash. Just as Elisha's bones outlasted his physical life, the true power of these figures wasn't tied to the physical footprint. It was encoded into their legacy, their lineage, and the energetic path they carved out for those who followed. This is what Ephelius Levi Jahad meant by the great work. Look at Moses standing on Mount Nebo, Elisha's bones bringing a man to life, and the alchemist transforming fading blooms into portals, and declare, yes, this is the exact essence of the great work. Magnum opus. Oh, baby, we're trying to be right on time. And that is where we're going to conclude for today. I'll be back Friday. I got an important call tomorrow. But I will be back Friday. So we could finish up 20 to 25. And wrap up. 2 Kings, look. 1 Kings and 2 Kings in the Testament of Solomon. Oh yeah. All that did something for me. Every single last word. Every single one. Absolutely delicious. Reading through it, finding all the magic. Following the demons, creating the temple, and calling it a holy place. All of it. All of it. What's delicious? Yes, and I'm glad I took the time to listen with the witches coven in regards to the scriptures, the regular ones and the ones in between that society calls lost or hidden. Thank you so much, my darlings, for your time today, learning with me, vibing with me, sharing your time with me. It has been absolutely scrumptious. Can't wait to wrap things up on Friday. And I hope that you have a magnificent rest of your week.